Yeah, but
875-5433. Ladies and gentlemen, and you're suffering from
There you go. There you go. Jumping right into it. That was Zenmar over there at BioLife, of course, giving you the vibe, giving you what it is that's needed. I am David Squeeze Annakie. It's yet another day. It's the day after that day. And let me just bring everything up to speed right now. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Link Up Radio, 93.5 FM. We've been here for 26 years. Man, I need to do the math. 26 years. Is it 26 years? No, 24 years. All right. And we've done so much on this station. One of the programs that's one of the most powerful programs on the station is this program where we're giving information on personal injury and immigration. Adam Handler is a personal injury attorney and a partner at the firm Pollack, Isaac and DeSico. And we put this program together and it's been so successful and we're very happy about it. So we implore you to actually ask people to check this program out. It's on personal injury and immigration. Adam himself has settled well over $125 million. We're now about to get into where we actually answer your immigration questions this morning, as we do each and every single weekday morning at 9:30 a.m. So do give us a ring at 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. 844-774-3529. Want to actually introduce my panel this morning. Where is everybody? I just noticed, well, here comes Nelson. But let me introduce the lady of the show this morning. There's Mr. Pollack. Let me introduce the panel today. We have none other than Alexandra Boss Lady Bondakov. Everybody's got a nickname on this show, including myself. Alexandra Boss Lady Bondakov. How are you doing today, my lady?
I'm well, thank you. And you?
I am very well, thank you. And we'll expound a little bit more as to what Alexandra does each and every single day. And let me introduce Mr. Maverick Nelson Madrid, okay, one of the top attorneys at the firm. Of course, Pollack, Isaac and DeSico, PPID. Mr. Maverick, how are you doing, sir?
Good. Good morning. How are you?
I am wonderful. You look better in that location there too.
I do. Thank you.
Looking good, guy. Looks all cleaned up like a real serious attorney, ready to kick some butts.
Thank you.
So that's Nelson Madrid, the Maverick, and here is the maestro, Conrad Pollack, man who needs to get himself. How you doing, Conrad? How is everything?
Good. Nelson, you look like you got a haircut. You look like you dropped a few pounds. You all right?
He does look like.
It's the good life. The good life.
Everything's good here. Everything's good here. Interesting show last night.
Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this show, we are definitely going to be speaking on personal injury and immigration, but I know we need to actually spend a couple of minutes speaking about last night, the debate. So Conrad, we'll let you lead off.
Well, if anybody had any doubt about who is better on immigration from an immigration or pro-immigrant standpoint, I think it was pretty clear. Even though they had a limited exchange, you notice that DACA came up. Trump couldn't change the subject fast enough. DACA basically is gone if Trump gets reelected. That's a fact. And you heard Biden. If you watched, Biden said the kids on DACA, those 700,000 kids, not only have many of them been, or a majority of them, been a contribution to society, and this is the only place they've ever known. 20,000 of them or so are first responders. He said he will, within the first 100 days, introduce legislation to make their status permanent, or certainly continue it, as opposed to, as I said, Trump eliminating it. He also talked about, within the first 100 days, creating a path to legalization for the 11 million illegal immigrants that are here currently. He made that very clear, and he's been saying that all along. Within the first 100 days, he's going to submit a bill for, of course, the right is going to call it amnesty, but we don't know what the details are yet, but he did pretty much, in fact, he very clearly said, pathway to citizenship. How long that's going to take, what the requirements are going to be, who knows? But that's good stuff. That's good stuff. And also, I love the exchange. In fact, the moderator brought up about the child separation policy. I mean, I'm glad that she brought that up, and about the 500 plus kids that right now are separated from their parents and they can't find the parents and so on. And Biden gave him a good shot about that and made a very good point about saying how, you know, that is not the United States. That is not what we want the world to see of the United States, ripping kids from their parents' arms, and made a very good point of that was a deliberate policy on the part of the Trump administration, Jeff Sessions in particular, to discourage immigrants from coming here. Biden made that point. I wish he had harped on it a little bit more, but he did make that point. It was pretty clear. And Trump had no answer. His response was, well, who built the cages? That's all he could say. Who built the cages? Who built the cages? You know, even if Obama did build the cages, that doesn't mean you fill them with kids.
Gotcha. Nelson?
Anything out, guys? You know, anything to add?
You know, yeah, no, I thought, you know, well, obviously we were all texting, right, during the debate. I thought Biden hit him hard. You know, I thought literally the end, and it was a common theme during the debate. There are no red and blue states. There is one United States of America.
Right.
You know, and honestly, that gave me goosebumps, you know, because, you know, Trump has made it a point, you know, not just Trump and his administration have made it a point to divide everyone, right? It's us against them. It's, you know, it's two different teams. And I think the reality of it is we are one, you know, and I think a lot of people have forgotten about that, you know. I thought it was also interesting when Trump said he was the least racist person in the room.
That's
I mean,
chuckles in the audience when he said that.
I mean, that to me was comical, you know, and I'm glad Biden brought up the Central Park 5, where Trump put out an ad in the paper saying that we need to bring the death penalty back and those kids should all basically be executed, you know. But of course, he, you know, as you know, he talked about Biden being a politician. Trump is a reality star. You know, he's a television guy.
On that, Nelson, that you're saying, listen to what he said. He says, or said rather, he's the least racist person in the room. Listen to what he said. He's the least racist. That means he's a racist. He's admitting that he's a racist. You get what I'm saying? He's saying that he's the least. So basically, he's saying, I'm a racist, but I'm the least racist one. So one is admitting. That's the first thing that hit home with me. I'm like, this dude, this athlete, you know.
What about the line he said after that? You know, he says, I'm the least racist person in the room. Then he says, it's so dark out there, I can't even see anybody. I mean,
it's so dark out there, I can't see. I'm like, this dude really got some huge, you know what? It was incredible.
Well, I don't think he meant it the way
I know, but it came out.
Or maybe he did, or maybe it was just a Freudian slip. It was just a Freudian slip, you know. It's so dark out there, which to me says, what do you mean? That means everybody's black out there? Is that what you're trying to say?
What are you saying? That's it's sublime. It was sublime. That's it. You know. Proceed.
Well, this is similar to, remember, stand back, stand by.
Yeah.
Right? Was that sublime as well? I mean, listen, if it walks like a duck, it looks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, guess what, people? It's a duck. Okay. Yeah. And I think he has shown us who he is during these previous 3 years. And I think his supporters will continue to support him. You know, rumor has it that he's irate that Barr doesn't want to announce that Biden and his family are being investigated because he thinks it's going to swing the election his way.
Well, Ray also wants to fire the director of the FBI because he's not political enough.
You know, he clearly, either you are on his side or you are against him. And if you are against him, he has to get rid of you. It's a common theme in his administration.
That's
you know.
Alex, what'd you think?
I was about to say, Alex, it's your turn now.
I think that debates do not convince anybody. I think everybody heard what they wanted to hear. I was frankly disappointed that it took Biden half an hour to answer the question why he hadn't done anything during his 8 years. And in the answer I was screaming at the TV was, I had a Republican Congress. I'm surprised that Trump did as well as he did, to be honest with you. But again, the bar was really low. But again, I think there shouldn't be any doubt in anybody's mind at this point. It just
Yeah, I think
Well-
they gave some sedatives before the show.
I don't know,
Well,
but
you know,
I come from a totalitarian country, and
but you
I'm
know,
just having deja vu's, and I can't.
you raised a good point, right? And when they asked, you know, he's so special. You know, when he said, well, why didn't you do anything? And you're right, actually, Biden did answer and say it was a Republican Congress.
Yeah, but at the,
Although he
you
should
know,
have
like at the seventh
elaborated.
time.
He should have
Right.
elaborated. What that means for all those people listening and watching who don't know was because the Republicans controlled
Congress, right?
they held everything up on purpose. They did this on purpose. They prevented them from accomplishing anything so they could turn around, obviously, a few years later and say, well, what did you do? You know, well, we did nothing because you held it up, you know, like
A perfect example of that
the
is
bill.
with the judiciary also. You know, they frequently say, oh, you know, look, Obama left us all these judge seats to fill. Meanwhile, McConnell and the Republicans deliberately did not let Obama judges get nominations or get votes. Granted, it wasn't as much of a priority for Obama as it has been for the Trump administration to fill those judicial seats. But McConnell and the Republicans did everything they could while Obama was president to delay and stop him from filling judicial seats. They did everything they possibly could. That's a perfect example of what it's like dealing with a Republican Congress when Obama was president.
Well, even, you know, what I thought was interesting as well is even another stimulus. You know,
Yeah.
Trump is blaming Pelosi. McConnell himself has come out and said, you know, but again, you know, it's, you know, I was watching, obviously, I was flipping through the channels. His base is his base. His base is not going to change. You know, this is what they're being fed, and this is what they have to go on, you know, and this is what they have to use, you know, conspiracy theories. You know, Biden was good also when he came back and said, you know what, this was investigated by a Republican Senate, and I was exonerated, and they found no wrongdoing.
That's all nonsense. Most of the only people that even know what he's talking about are the people that are just tuned into Fox News, you know, with the laptop and this and all this Russian craziness. You know, they're just trying. He's trying to do exactly what they did last time with Hillary and the emails. He's just trying to recreate that. You know, that's what that's about. Hopefully, it won't be successful.
It's crazy. And you know, it brings about another point that people need.
Well, actually, I had one more thought. I always flip between channels after these debates to see what everybody's talking about. And of course, you know, on Fox, the vast majority of them, the Sean Hannitys of the world. He crushed him. He did everything he needed to do. Biden was on his heels the whole night. You know, the usual nonsense. But before that, they had some of the actual journalists, few as they are on that network. Chris Wallace was on, Britt Hume, who's a little bit more to the right of Chris Wallace. Both of them said at best, Trump fought to a draw. Both of them. Chris Wallace made several good points about how Biden got in some very clean shots, as did Britt Hume. And again, Britt Hume is not a Democrat by any means. So, you know, and then of course, then Hannity comes on and all these other Tucker Carlson, and then they all, you know, it was a blowout according to them. But then you go back to CNN. CNN had a poll of undecided voters, which undecided voters at this point in North Carolina, they had 9 people. All right, and they asked them various questions, and then they said, "Well, who do you think won?" They said, "Who do you think?" They said, "How many of you think Biden won?" 7 of the 9. How many of you think Trump won? 0. How many thought it was a tie? 2 of them. Not one of these North Carolina undecided voters thought Trump won that debate, which was very nice in North Carolina too. That was really good. Yeah.
That state. That is true. And it brings about another thing that people need to understand. The folks who are listening here, especially to this radio station, need to understand. It's not just about the presidential elections. There are other elections that's extremely important that you should actually participate in. It's very, very important. I don't know if you attorneys want to comment on that. I would love for you guys to comment on that.
Well, absolutely. Look, I mean, it's obviously the most important issue here is that Biden gets the win, that Biden becomes president. But if Biden wins, but the Senate stays Republican, again, McConnell and the Republicans, the majority there, they're going to do everything they can to sink his presidency, to stop him from doing what he wants to do, to frustrate his agenda as much as they possibly can. You know, Trump was talking about, we think we're going to get the House back. I mean, I don't know what planet he thinks he's living on, right? There is no chance in the world that the Republicans are getting out. On the contrary, the Democrats are going to expand the majority in the House this term. That's a fact. And there's a very good chance that the Democrats are going to get the Senate as well. The thing is, though, it is so important that we get the Senate, that the Democrats get the Senate. If Biden gets the House and the Senate, that means all three branches of Democrat, he'll have 2 years at the least. He'll have 2 years to push his agenda, all right, and get things done and undo a lot of the bad stuff that Trump has done. So if the Democrats don't get the Senate, it's going to be a lot more difficult to do that.
Well, let me refresh everybody's memory right quick, right? And I think this underscores much of what we're speaking about this morning. When Obama won, Mitch McConnell said, and I quote, and you can Google this and you can YouTube this, okay? Our goal is to make sure Obama is a one-term president, okay? So they obviously had an agenda. They had a plan. And the plan was, again, to prevent him or to stand in his way as much as they could and just basically block anything and everything he tried to do. So they can turn around and spin it the way they're trying to spin it today. You know, so look, I think it speaks volumes. I think everything is pretty clear. As I think Alex said, if you're not decided, you know, there's very few and far between people who are not decided at this point. You know, I thought, you know, personally, Biden has the lead. As I said, I think he just has to run out the clock. You know, Trump is desperate. You know, he's throwing as much as he can on a wall, hoping something sticks. And it is what it is. You know, we got 2 weeks.
Speaking of Obama, another thing that I saw, excuse me, that I saw when I turned on Fox, Hannity, I mean, as if this is really important. He has the cameras on, you know, Trump was in, I don't know, North Carolina, wherever he was at one of his rallies yesterday or the day before or whatever. And they have a camera spanning and saying, look at all these people. And they have the camera going through the crowd. And then I'm watching for a while and I said, wait a minute, I think I saw that guy already. So what they did, you know, they got this, they had the camera panning around the crowd, but they were doing it in circles to make it look like they had like thousands upon thousands of people. And then he makes a comment, and Obama gave his speech today. I think he had 200 cars there, as if like, okay, what the hell does that mean? What's your point? You know, that Trump is drawing big crowds and that Obama isn't? I mean, are you kidding me? That's Trump. I mean, and that's Trump, that's Fox.
But you know, what's interesting is Obama gave a speech recently and Biden mentioned it. Biden was on point yesterday. I got to tell you, Biden threw some hard shots. You know, do you imagine what Fox News would have said if they found out that Obama had a bank account in China? Do you imagine?
It would be a whole different thing, a whole different ball game.
Do you imagine? But, you know, Trump has bank accounts all over the world. You know, he just doesn't, you know. Look, again, I think everything is pretty clear. You know, if you're not decided, you know, I think you obviously need to take a side, right? And definitely go out there and vote.
You know, and one more point. You know, again, if you turn on Fox News, you turn on any of these talk radio shows right on the right, or read Breitbart News, God forbid, all they're talking about is Hunter Biden and the laptop, and you know, Biden made $3.5 million, and it's the Biden crime family. And as usual, Trump projecting, you know, calling him corrupt, calling him this, calling him that, when in fact Trump he's just talking about himself. Every charge he levels against somebody else is really it's true about himself. But what about Trump's kids? You know, I mean, when he was hitting Biden with that nonsense, I was saying, well, what about Ivanka getting all these trademarks in China? You know, and then a week later, you drop sanctions against that Chinese company that had been sanctioned. All of a sudden, a week later, coincidence? You know, it's the same exact stuff. You know, here he is claiming that Biden is the second greatest, you know, his second greatest crime in the history of the United States. The biggest crime was spying on his campaign, of course, which has been debunked totally, but he just keeps putting it out there anyway. It's just 12 more days or 11 more days. It's almost over. Let's hope.
Let it go, Conrad. Let it go.
Let's hope.
Let it go. I know I needed to let you just get that out because we would have been, you know, Alexandra Boss Lady has that face, you know, like, can we just get into the show now? David, why aren't you interrupting and getting the show started? You know. Anyway, we all needed to get that out. We needed to
The one
talk.
thing, well, the one thing is, what he's looking at his watch. Why did Biden do that? What was he? It's like, wait, I have an appointment.
Well, I gotta be
Well, now
honest with
time
you.
for the mute button.
I was thinking about that. I was looking at the clock as well because I felt like they were going on more than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I thought, 10 seconds wasn't 10 seconds. I thought it was 20 or 30 seconds, So I got to be honest with you. I was looking at my clock or my watch as well, and also, it was a long debate, it was an hour and a half. So
I'm serious. Look
I
at his
don't really
watch.
look too much into
I
that.
turned to my daughter. He's looking at his watch. So what? It's past his bedtime or something?
Yeah.
You guys are so funny. You guys are hilarious. You know that? Oh, man. Anyway, it was a very interesting debate. I must say it was better than the previous debate. I think we all agree on that. All right. And I believe that Biden is going to win. Alexandra's got that face like she's worried.
I don't believe in polling. Like we were told by the national whatever that advisor that Iran is meddling in our elections. Who knows? Like I said, I've seen it before.
This worried face throughout the entire show so far. Like I am.
Yeah, it's not like we don't have any examples in the past. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm optimistic. Okay, so I'm optimistic enough for you, Alexandra. Don't worry about it. I got enough optimism for you. I don't have to give Nelson and Conrad any. They got enough for the entire country. So, let's just pray and hope and see what happens. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Cruising with a Case Handler, show on personal injury and immigration. We're just speaking about the, let's call it the aftermath of the debate last night, the presidential debate, which was very interesting, and we're just giving our points. But we're jumping into immigration. Alexandra, I don't know if you have anything you want us to bring us up to date before we jump into the questions.
There's a lot that has happened during the 3 weeks that I was not on the show. It mostly affects the business side of immigration. There are several new rules that this administration is promulgating. And again, I think that ties in with the Biden campaign and what would happen when he gets elected president. Once you have a rule in place, it's a lot more difficult to undo it. And this is the reason why this administration is trying to push these rules, these regulations. It's not an executive action. It's not a proclamation that can be very easily undone by the new president. Regulations will take time. So the new rules would affect H-1Bs, would affect immigrants in the employment-based categories, and also students. And I know we've talked about students a lot in the past, and the administration has been trying to limit their stay to a number of years. The new proposed rule would limit the stay of students to 4 years, and then they would have to apply for an extension of stay through immigration, and there's a bunch of other limiting regulations there. So a lot is happening. I think, though, that everybody's focused on this upcoming election. And I hope we have something better to talk about the week of November 3rd.
I'm quite sure we will. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, just wanted you to know the show Cruising with a Case Handler. We're speaking on immigration right now. Let me give it a number. Everyone who gives a ring before the top of the hour, you'll be able to get a free phone consultation. You just need to schedule it with an attorney at the law firm PPID, Pollack, Isaac, and Masico. These are attorneys that are of the firm. The number to call is 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Make the link, make the connection, make it PPID. You can also visit them online at PPID. Just Google PPID Law and it will just pop up for all of their socials and their website. Once again, 844-774-3529. That's 844-PPID-LAW. Here's one directly from the Facebook page. I want to say a pleasant good morning, by the way, to all the folks watching us on Facebook, not only 93.5 FM listening, but the folks on Facebook, such as the Denisha, Joseph, Kim Silveria, Linda, everybody. And Janae Campbell's got a question. She says here, when you send in a filing application for your adult unmarried child, how long after should I expect a response? Lady or gentleman?
So So an adult unmarried, again, we would need more facts. Is the petitioner a permanent resident? Is the petitioner a citizen? It really depends. Typically, that would fall into what, Conrad? F3, F4? Well, it depends. I don't even know the age of the beneficiary.
Need more information.
We need more information. I mean, give us a call. This is a couple of minute phone conversation. 844-774-3529.
Yeah, Janae, you can just give them a ring right now, 844-774-3529, because they need more information, other than just, when you send the filing application for your adult and married child, how long after should I expect a response? They need dates, they need more information, all right, which is extremely important. All right, let's get into some more questions right here. All right, I met my fiance about 1 year ago. She lives in Jamaica. She tried to come and visit me in the United States, but the United States Embassy denied her visitor's visa. Can I sponsor her to come to the United States without us getting married? She also has a son that's 3 years old that she does not want to leave behind in our country. Can we get my fiance's son into the United States as well?
You take that one, Alex. Fiance visa.
Yes, he can petition for her as a fiancé visa. They take a long time though, and we generally try to discourage them. If possible, the better way is to get married in Jamaica, and then he can file the I-130. As far as his fiance's son, if they indeed marry, the child would be a stepson, and he can petition for that son as well. And also on the K3, there's also a derivative.
Okay.
No, if
The K2 is a derivative.
On the same application, it will be a separate filing.
It will be if he's filing the I-130, the immigrant visa petition, it has to be a separate petition because there are no derivatives for immediate relatives.
if he doesn't, if they don't want to get married yet, and assuming they have actually physically met in the last 2 years, he can apply for the fiance visa. It takes a good year to get that fiance visa, which is why Alex suggests. You hearing me?
Yeah, we're hearing you. Yes.
All right. I'm having trouble with my internet. It takes a good year to get that fiance visa these days, although the consulates are saying they're prioritizing them now. But that's why Alex said it's better to just get married and file your case, because it also takes about a year to get your green card. But they don't want to get married. He just wants to do a fiance visa. He can't get to Jamaica right now, or whatever. They could put in the fiance visa application. They can include the child in that application. And in a year or so, 10 months to a year, she'll get her interview with the consulate. And at that point, she has to, the applicant has to demonstrate that they physically met in the last 2 years, that it's a valid relationship. They have to submit documentation to prove that. She can include the child, as I said. And then if she gets the fiance visa, she comes to the United States, and they have 3 months to get, 4 months to get married, 120 days to get married and file the case. Or is it 3 months? I forgot. It's 3 or 4 months.
Gotcha. Once again, folks, Cruising with a Case Handler right here. The number to call is 844-774-3529. Make that appointment, schedule that appointment with an attorney, and get that phone consultation. 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Make the link, make the connection, like I always say, and make it to, of course, PPID. All right, here's another one. I have a girlfriend who recently migrated to the United States. We did not get married when she was living in Jamaica because she was on filing. And I am sure that if we had got married, it would have affected her chances of migrating when the filing came through. Now that she has finally migrated to the US, and I currently have a valid B1, B2 visa, I would like to know if it is possible for me to visit her and maybe get married over there. I don't want to run into any trouble with the US authorities, so I would like to know what the available options are.
I'm confused here. He is an American. First of all, we need to know whether he's an American citizen. If the girlfriend has a B1, B2, is she currently in the United States?
Well, it's not like he is in Jamaica.
Oh, he's in Jamaica. Oh, all right. So
Recently migrated to the United States. We did not get married when she was living in Jamaica because she was on filing. That means someone was filing for her. So he didn't.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, the short answer is we need more information. Yeah. If she's here on the B1, B2, she obviously cannot petition for him. If she has an underlying case and she's in the process of obtaining a green card, if that allows for a derivative, then they should get married somewhere. I mean, I guess she'll have
He
to
has
go
a
back to
B1, B2.
Malaysia.
He wants to know now
He
that
wants a B1, B2, or
yeah,
she has a B1, B2.
no, he has a B1, B2.
Okay.
She's
Okay.
now in the United States. He wants to know if he
Okay.
can now come to the United States and marry her.
Well,
What
he can
that,
come.
that question? What's her status?
Right,
Exactly.
exactly. I keep on asking you, like, what is her?
She
what
was
is
being
her-
filed for. Someone filed for her, and then she's finally in the United States. And now he wants to know, seeing that he has the B1, B2, can I go there now and marry her?
So let's assume she is a green card holder, right? Her husband. I mean, I don't like doing this because I'm assuming
Right.
a lot that may not be
Yes,
true, but generally speaking, theoretically speaking, a permanent resident can marry a foreign national. And right now, those numbers are current. So basically, they can file for adjustment. However, you have to be very mindful of the 90-day rule. Basically, if you enter in any non-immigrant status, what you do in the next 90 days in the United States would determine basically your intended entry. So, generally speaking, yes. However,
It's a little complicated. Also, technically, you're supposed to maintain status.
30 seconds, guys, before the top.
You're supposed to maintain status. You can't fall out of status. So this is a little more complicated. Again, it's not something I would recommend you do on your own.
Absolutely not. And folks, give a ring. We're going to the top of the hour on the radio station 93.5. We're going to continue on Facebook for a few minutes. But do remember to call 844-774-3529 to schedule your appointment with an attorney. Prior results do not guarantee similar outcome. Thank you so much for joining us on 93.5. All right, let's continue. All right, with a question, but thanks a lot, Alexandra and Nelson, for following up on that question. Here's another question. It says here, a friend of mine got married after his dad filed an I-130 petition for him. When his papers came, he added his wife and 2 children to the application, which then came up to say that due to the numerical limitations of visa issuance by law, the petition was no longer eligible for further processing at this time. What are his options?
Well, let's assume that his father was a U.S. citizen. Because if his father had a green card and his son, who he applied for, got married, that case ends right there. A green card holders, permanent residents, can only apply for unmarried children. So we're assuming that the father is a citizen. When he applied for his son was unmarried, it was a first preference case. When he got married, it became a third preference case. Those cases are subject to quotas. So it's going to depend on when he filed that case. That will determine when he will be scheduled for an interview. In addition, in any of those categories is subject to the travel ban. The travel ban is in effect at least until the end of this year. Again, getting back to the election, Trump gets reelected, that travel ban is going to be extended. I promise you, guaranteed. If Biden gets elected, that travel ban will go away. So, everything we talk about here, the election affects. But in this particular case, we need to know when that case was filed. We need to know when the visa petition was filed. It sounds like a third preference case now. You need to look at the visa bulletin and see what dates they're up to. And again, hopefully that travel ban will go away in a couple of months.
Okay. All right. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Cruising with a Case Handler. Dial the number 844-774-3529. If you're watching us on Facebook, yes, you can place your question there. Someone here commenting on something that Trump said last night,
What?
I know you want to hear. I'll wait till the end before I say it, because then you're going to jump all over it. Someone says here, good morning. Is the new ruling on public charge currently in effect? Pauline wants to. Answer is yes.
Yes.
Could have answered that one for you guys. All right, here's one. My husband died in 2011 while he was petitioning for me to move to Florida. However, after he died, the process stopped. We have a child together who was just born when he died, but I was able to get a consular report of birth abroad for her upon proving that he was indeed a U.S. citizen. She has been living in America with relatives since that time, but whenever I apply for a visitor's visa to visit her, I'm always denied. Can you tell me why this is so? Can you also tell me if there is a likelihood that the petition is still open, and if it is, can I get a sponsor to continue the process?
Well, first off, that case died unfortunately, with the petitioner. So that case is over. As far as the daughter, she's a U.S. citizen. That's great. When she's 21, she can apply for a mom to get a green card. It sounds like she's 9 or 10 right now. So she's got a while to go. The reason they're not giving her a tourist visa is because the law presumes that every person applying for a visa is an immigrant. They have immigrant intent. Everybody applying to the United States, again, the government, the law, the consulates presume that they're coming here to stay permanently. Now, it's up to the applicant to demonstrate the contrary. It's up to the applicant to prove, no, I'm just coming to visit. I want to go, I heard Disney World, they have this new Superman roller coaster, and I've been dying to check it out. Right? That's why I want to go to the United States. I have relatives back home. I have family back home. I have property back home. I have a permanent job. I have money in the bank. These are all things you need to demonstrate that you're going to return to your country when your visa's up. Now, the fact that she has a daughter who's a U.S. citizen, that's a big negative factor, number one. The fact that her husband had applied for her to get a green card, indicating she had an immigrant intent, that's a pretty big negative factor as well. Those are the reasons they're not giving her a visa, and I would pretty much presume they're not going to give her a visa. No chance.
There you go. All right. Final question here. Okay. My sister's husband, who is a citizen of the USA, filed for her. However, the person who did the paperwork omitted her 2 children from the application. How can my sister add her children to the application? She's worried and doesn't want to leave them behind in Jamaica.
So the husband files for his wife.
Yeah.
Nah, it sounds like a fourth preference.
Yeah.
So,
No, the husband is an American citizen who files for his wife. That's an immediate relative.
is that what
Right?
he said?
Am I getting the facts right?
Husband, who is a citizen of the USA, filed for her.
Filed for his wife. All right. So then he's going to have to file for the 2 children. How old are the children? If under 21, are they stepchildren? Are they biological children? So all of these things are going to make a difference. But
right.
Generally speaking, because it's an immediate relative, there's no derivatives. Basically means that every one of them would need a separate petition.
Gotcha. All right. So give a ring, please, and follow up with that question. Speak with Alexandra or Nelson or Conrad. You can call them at 844-774-3529 and schedule an appointment to speak with one of these phenomenal attorneys at, of course, PPID. The number, once again, is 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Make the link, make the call. Once again, like I always say, make that connection and reach out to them. Prior results do not guarantee similar outcome. And yes, it has been an attorney advertisement, but it's been a great show and they are a phenomenal firm, like I said earlier. Well, before we go.
Squeeze, what was that comment you said you were going to read?
I want to read that for you now. Let's go right here. Hello, sir. Quick one here on immigration. Hello, all thanks for the great job and information that you are giving. My question is the immigration courts open? How long are they taking to process a motion to reopen the application?
So the non-detained courts are not open, although they have been deciding and they've been deciding motions. It all depends on the judge actually assigned to the case. But there is no black and white answer. You should call the court and follow up with the court. Follow up with the court clerk, whoever the court clerk is.
And they're making a motion to reopen. I sure hope they have a lawyer. All right, motions to reopen are not as simple as they might seem.
Well, that's why I said call the court clerk. Go. Good luck figuring this out on your own.
Yeah.
The comment, Conrad, was the coyotes that were bringing the children here.
Right. Go ahead. I forgot that one.
Yeah, that's all that they said. It said, yeah, and the coyotes that were bringing the children here. That's what someone said. Evidently, they said.
Well, that was Trump. That's right. When she said when she asked the question about the 500 plus kids that can't find their parents, Trump's response was, that these are bad people. They're coyotes and they're smugglers and they're even just very bad people bringing these kids in. Which something. There might be a shred of truth to that. Some of the 525 kids, maybe 2 or 3 of them were brought in by coyotes, but the vast majority of those kids and all the other kids that were separated from their parents were brought in by their parents or by their relatives. And, it is true that it is known, or it was known, that if you come in with little kids, that the odds are that they weren't going to put you in jail and that they were going to let you go. And that was the way to get in. He's right. I mean, that is a tactic of people coming across the border and trying to get into the United States, right? But even if that's the case, that still does not give the federal government license to separate the kids and possibly separate them for life, number one. Number two, studies have shown that when these kids, 2, 3, 4 years old in their formative years are ripped from their parents, these have substantial psychological impacts on the kids' developments. Now, these are kids that are going to be in the United States. They're not going home. They're going to be here. Now, 15, 20 years from now, who knows what the effects are, the psychological effects of separating these kids traumatically from their parents, what it's going to be like for these kids 15, 20 years from now, and how it's going to affect them, and what they're going to do in society once they're of age. You know, this is how you create criminals. This is how you create psychotic people, by destroying their childhood. You know, so there was, and look, I'm just scratching the surface of the various problems that this policy has created and could create in the future. And it's just, and it's also just disgusting. This is not what the United States is. The United States doesn't do that. Yeah, you have to solve your immigration problem. Okay, it's a problem. There are other ways to do it without being cruel.
Gotcha. Conrad Pollack, ladies and gentlemen. Any final words, Mr. Madrid?
No, none at all.
Conrad said it all for us.
Conrad said it all for everyone.
And Ms. Bondakov, any final words?
Other than don't forget to vote.
That's it. I know you're very concerned. All right.
Early voting in New York starts tomorrow, by the way. Tomorrow morning polls.
That is true. Early voting starts tomorrow.
Well, the orange guy says he believes he can win New York.
Yeah.
He also said New York is a ghost town.
Right. New York City's a ghost town. My city, I love my city, which, by the way, he moved to Florida, right? He changed his residence to Florida. My New York City, I love it, and it's a ghost town. And on Fox News, they call it a hellhole. He calls it a ghost town.
God. All right. Thank you, Conrad. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Alexandra. It's been a great show. And I'm quite sure Monday we'll be talking more about this at 9:30 a.m. on 93.5 and right here on Facebook. Of course, we will be talking tomorrow, of course, and on Saturday and Sunday, as we do segments, repeats, and me plugging, of course, PPID. And just want to remind everybody, please call 844-774-3529. When you need legal help, make the call to that number, 844-PPIDLAW. That's 844-774-3529. A staple in our community, Pollack, ISEC, and the SECO is. That's PPID. Thank you.
Squeeze, one more comment. All right, just again, people, everybody out there, if you didn't watch the debate, you listen to what we have to say, you see the choice is clear. All right, you need to vote. You need to make sure that the Democrats win, the Democrats get the Senate, and that Joe Biden becomes president. I'm sure many of you, if you're not illegal yourselves, you have friends, you have relatives, you have neighbors that are, and that have no way to legalize. There are people here, they've been here for 10, 20 years, whatever, and they have no way to get legal. Now, you heard it yourself. Biden has said within the first 100 days of his presidency, he's going to submit legislation to the Congress to create a path for legalization for 11 million people that are here illegally. Now, you, I'm sure, know a lot of those people. So, this is not just some abstract concept. This is a way out for a lot of people, a lot of family members, a lot of neighbors, a lot of friends, whatever, that that they might finally be able to legalize. So this is not just some abstract concept that we're talking about, that's out there in the ether. This is real. So vote for Biden. Let's get him to be president, and let's give him a chance. Trump kept saying, "What have you done in 47 years? You haven't done anything." Well, let's give him another chance. Right? Give him another 4 years to make it right.
Well, I like. By the way, I also like when he said you're running against Joe Biden, not Bernie Sanders, because he keeps mentioning,
AOC +3.
Yeah, AOC +3. Bernie Sanders, the radical left. Listen, I think it's about unifying the country. I think as a country, we have never been so divided. I think it's about bringing some stability and respect back to the United States, something that we haven't had in the last 3 years.
I like that. I like that comment, what you just said. Yeah, we need to bring a lot of respect back to the United States. I mean, when you mention the United States in any conversation or capacity in the past, there was so much respect that you had regardless of what was going on. Now, based on where things are with this presidency, it's just unbelievable. You step out of the country and you mention the United States and you're looked at real funny. And you're president, it's unbelievable, and I see that when I travel and people saying, what the hell is going on over there? And I'm like, it's our presidency, but we're about to fix it because
one more comment that I had that you just reminded me. You know, they were talking about the fence lines. You know, the people living next to these oil refineries and just these companies that allegedly pollute the environment. And Biden gave an example of when he lived in Delaware and they put on his windshield wipers in the morning, it would be like oil slicks on the windshield. Anyway, and the moderator asked Trump about that. And Trump said, well, these people have jobs and they're making a ton of money and they're making a fortune. And I'm saying to myself, okay, so then it's okay to pollute and to kill them and to destroy their health as long as they're making money, right? And it's okay. And Biden basically said that. Right, which I thought was a great point, because the fact that, again, that was very revealing of where Trump's head is. You know what? As long as you're making money, it's okay. Get cancer, no problem. You're making money, you can survive cancer. You know, whereas obviously, I think if people had a choice, they'd probably choose their health over a higher income. My guess. My guess.
And by the same token, going back to what was said on the debate, he was saying Wall Street is doing great, the stock market is doing great. Look at all this 401k. And I wanted to say, yes, but the waitress is not likely to have a 401k.
Right.
Right. The people who are most affected by all of this, not Wall Street. So,
well, and you know something?
Again, everybody heard what they wanted to hear. You know, it depends on your frame of mind. You know, are you sort of a bigger picture person, or do you only care about not paying taxes?
You know something?
It is more about Main Street, as you said, Alex.
Right. Exactly.
You know, personally, you know, fine, your 401k is going to go down a little bit, which, by the way, I don't believe that for a second. The fact is, I believe that the stock market has already built in the fact that Biden is going to win. So I do not believe that the stock market is going to crash if Trump loses. I don't believe that for a second. I think it's going to be a blip. It's not going to make a damn bit of difference. All right. But the fact is also, personally, fine. Yeah, I have a 401k. If my 401k goes down a bit, I have no problem with that. I would gladly spend a little more money and pay a little more in taxes to get rid of this lunatic.
Listen, but well, you know, again, and this is what I said, Biden fought a hell of a fight. Biden said, are we going to go with facts and science or lies and fear? Right? And again, you have a choice. What is your choice? Vote. Especially people in Florida, people listening and watching in Florida, vote and vote the right way. Don't make a mistake.
All right. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I say vote Biden. That's me. All right? That's what I'm saying. Anyway, thank you all so much for doing this show. Have yourself an amazing weekend, attorneys, and also, of course, viewers and listeners. We do appreciate you. And thanks a lot for participating in the comment section. A lot of people, you know, commenting here, you know, so let's just, and it's a good thing Conrad is not on this thing, you know, because we would be here all day, you know, but thank you all so much for watching. Let's try this and do this again on Monday at 9:30 a.m. Have yourself a great weekend.